welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today we are doing a video that's a bit of a rarity on my channel, which is a February TBR. You all know I'm very much a mood reader, so I usually don't bother making actual TBRs because the likelihood of me actually reading those books is relatively low because I am not very good at predicting or controlling what I read in a month. But for some reason, this month I felt like making a TBR, so we're gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. Also, let me know how you feel about TBRs. Would you be interested in me doing more frequent TBRs, even knowing that there's very little guarantee I will actually read the books, but just to kind of be like, these are the things that I'm thinking about for the month. Let me know your opinion about TBRs. If you're not interested in that, that's totally cool. But let's get into it. So I have my books in a couple of categories. In my mind, I did not stack them in these categories apparently, but I want to make sure that I am getting to some of the books that are on the TBRs that I set for the year. So I have two TBRs that I set for this year. One is just my general top 10 books to read in the year. The other one is my shelf clear out project TBR. So I'm trying to read through the last 12 books that are unread books that I had bought in 2020, so that the oldest books on my shelf will be from 2021. Okay, so I'm gonna include a couple of books from each of those lists, and then I have a couple of other just ones that are on my mind for the month. So for the two books that I have from my top 10 books to read this year TBR, this is essentially my month of ripping the band-aid off, which are the two books that I've kind of been meaning to read for a long time and kept putting them off. So I'm going to just get to them this month. I really want to just do it early in the year. So the first one is The White Mare by Jules Watson. This is historical fiction set in 79 AD during the Roman occupation of Britain. We're following two main characters. I think the main character is Rianne, who is a Scottish princess and priestess who is facing a political marriage that she does not really want to be a part of. And then the other character that we're following is an Irish prince who is off on his own quest. I'm assuming their paths will cross at some point. So I do really want to get to this one. I have technically started it, but then immediately got distracted by something else. The other Rip the Band-Aid Off book is, of course, The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I've talked about so many times, which is, you know, silk punk military fantasy. The thing is, I'm actually thinking of reading this as an audiobook because I feel like maybe that'll just be easier for me to do. So if you have read or listened to the audiobook for this, let me know if it's a good audiobook, if you think that this is a good one to listen to as an audiobook, or is it the kind of book that you kind of have to read it physically to like get the full experience or fully appreciate it. Yeah, let me know about your thoughts on this as an audiobook because I'm thinking that might be the way to go so that I will actually get to it. If I could listen to this as an audiobook, I would, but I don't think this has an audiobook. Okay, so those are the two from the top 10 list. Then I have two books that are from my shelf clear out project TBR. The first one is Riot Baby by Tochi Onyebuchi. This is a novella that is like dystopian sci-fi. I've been meaning to get to this one for a long time also. And I really want to get to this one because I want to make sure I'm reading more sci-fi this year. So this will kind of count towards two of my goals for the year. Then the other one that I had not really been planning to read this month, but this is what distracted me from The White Mare because I kind of picked it up on a whim, is The Forever Queen by Helen Hollick. So this is another historical fiction. This is set in England in 1002. We are following Emma of Normandy as she, throughout her life, as she marries different kings for political marriage. So she marries the King of England, but then England is invaded by the Danes, and then she has to enter into another political marriage to survive and to position her children for political advantage, and she tries to position one of her sons into being the next king. This does have another book. This is a duology, and the other book in the duology is about her son who becomes a king. So I was not planning to read this in February, but I read some historical fiction in January, and then after finishing that I just was like, you know what, I'm really still in the mood for this, so I wanted something in a similar vein, and this seemed like it was going to be a similar kind of thing, and it definitely is. It's actually right around the same time period as the other historical fiction I was reading, but just set in a different country, so this is very much in the same vein, so it's like really what I'm in the mood for at the moment, and I'm not always in the mood to read historical fiction, so I really just wanted to capitalize on the fact that I'm in like a historical fiction mood at the moment. But this is a bit of a commitment. It's like a 650-page book, so it's a bit of a chunky one to kind of spontaneously add into the month, but such is life, such is my reading life, at least. Okay, so those are all the ones that are like from other lists. Then I have a couple of other books that I'm looking at for the month. So first up is Tread of Angels by Rebecca Roanhorse. I have just started this. I'm only like a chapter into it so far. This is a fantasy novella that takes place in this world of angels, and there's we're following two sisters, one of whom I think is accused of killing one of these angels, and then the other sister has to kind of go on a quest to prove her sister's innocence. I love Rebecca Roanhorse, but I am not sure if this is going to be one that really works for me just in terms of the setting and tropes that it uses. I'm not really an angels kind of person. I'm not sure if the vibe is going to be for me, but I really like Rebecca Roanhorse. I want to give her books a try, so I am going to be reading this month, and I'm listening to the audiobook for this because I found that most often I think I enjoy her books most as audiobooks. Okay, another one that I'm looking at for the month is Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. This is a YA fantasy retelling of the myth of the six swans, but it is six cranes in this one. So it is a myth about a girl who has six brothers who are turned into birds by a curse, and then she has to go through many different trials in order to save her brothers. I haven't heard a lot of reviews of this. I remember seeing a lot of people excited about this book before it came out. Then after it came out, I feel like I haven't seen a ton of reviews of it, or I've seen very reviews that are like, yeah, this is fine. Like, I haven't seen a lot of rave reviews for this, but I do really want to give it a try because it sounds interesting, and I really like the story of the six swans, so I am just interested in seeing another retelling of it. Okay, and then the last one that I have is sort of a last minute addition to this because, you know, making a TBR, what's on this TBR changes like moment to moment. So one that just got added is Highland Blood by Melanie Karsak. This is the second book in this series that is giving kind of a magical backstory, origin story to Lady Macbeth. It's very like witchy, and I read the first book. I thought it was okay. Like, there were definitely some things I liked about it. It had some interesting potential to it. There were also some things that I didn't love in the writing and execution, but I liked it enough that I wanted to give the second book a try. So I keep putting this one off because that first one, while I liked it enough to give the next one a try, it didn't like inspire great like excitement about this one, so I feel like I keep putting it off, but I want to definitely get to this. And it's so short. It's not that hard. I feel like I can squeeze it in. So those are the books that are on my February TBR at the moment. These are the ones that are on my mind. Of course, it is the very beginning of February, and there's so much time for all of this to change and for me to read completely different books this month. But these are the ones that I am hoping to get to this month. Let me know what you're planning on reading in February. Do you have any like particular February reading plans? I'm realizing that a lot of people for February will probably be doing more like romance kind of stuff for Valentine's Day, and I don't really have any romance oriented things. I think I have a lot of books that have women being forced into political marriages they don't want to be in. So not really on theme for the month, but oh well. Anyway, I'd love to know what your reading plans are for February. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye.